Welcome to the Doula Collective orientation to the Doula training, and thank you for being here. My name is Divya, and I am a part of the collective, and I have other members of my collective here, which I'm so proud to introduce. There's Neha. Neha is the heart of the Doula Collective. And then there's Rupa, there's Yogita, who has been a part for the last year, and then some half a year. So each one is on a different cohort level. Some of us have, like Neha has completed the complete course, and she comes back to offer insights and to review it once in a while. Yogita has done seminar 1 last year and has joined in with seminar 2 this year. And Rupa started this year. And then we have all of you who have interest in Doula training. We also have Suma, who has kind of made a commitment to us, and she's going to be a part of our Doula training this year. So exactly why the Doula Collective option? Why is it even in being? There are enough Doula training courses around the world, and all of them have a similar format. And that format is a 3-day workshop and a list of requirements that you need to do over a period of time. And then you go back every 2 or 3 years to recertify, do a certain hours of continuous education, and then recertify and maintain a membership. And it seems like a great model, but I'm just wondering, how can anybody learn support in 3 days of workshop and then being left alone to do it by themselves? And the core, the heart of Doula work is support. And there is absolutely no one way of defining it, because the question we have to ask is, what are we supporting? If we are supporting birth, then women are not at the center of it, but birth is, it's an outcome. If we're supporting women, then all women are different. And therefore, how can we learn what might work with every single woman who comes to us as a client? And therefore, what is that quality of support that we are looking for? What is it that we want to learn? And having said that, this model arose. So when I started 20 years ago, there were no doulas in India. But it isn't that women gave birth unsupported. I feel there was far more support for a pregnant woman in birth and pregnancy than there is today. And it's an interesting idea, because one of my mentors, Janet Chawla, has worked with Indigenous midwives for 30 years, and all of them offer support. They are the wise women of the community that offer support. And they didn't learn it with a course of a 3-day workshop, which also spends about 4 hours on business development, but they learned it sitting side by side with other women who gave support. They learned it by feeling support, knowing in their own bodies what support meant. They did it as community, and therefore the idea that there is not an organization that demands your loyalty via membership, but a collective of women who choose to come together and support each other so that all of us can grow. And that's how Doula Collective began. I gestated it for 9 or 10 years before it actually became reality. And this is our 5th year of training. So we started 5 years ago. And over the last 5 years, we say we've been at least acknowledged, if not recognized, by the quality of work. Not one, not me, not Neha, not Rupa, not Yogita, but each of us do. And we don't do it because we're alone. We do it because we're together. So that is the heart of Doula Collective. To understand that 3-day workshop, which is 8 hours a day, 24 hours, that first 24 hours of training, I divided into 24 weeks of webinars, which is 6 months of continuous interaction week after week. And each webinar is supported by a whole bunch of study material that you get to work with at home, at your own pace, in your own time. So that was step number 1. that because women who are getting called to this work are either mothers or have full-time jobs, therefore we don't want to burden you with yet another requirement. That does not in itself feel supportive. And so it is, you can take this at your own pace. Even though you could speed it up, I'd say go slow, because it takes a certain amount of time for the human brain to break down and digest and integrate information. And this journey is then supported by a group which we are virtually connected with on WhatsApp, and your ability to reach out to the group and to me individually with no limits to that interaction. So I'm not offering you a certain amount of hours, but I'm offering you what support feels like. And the good thing is I don't have to do it alone anymore, because in 4 years, the last 4 years, we're 25 people strong. So I don't have to offer it alone. And that's number one. So it's the 24 hours of workshop broken into this much time. Second part of this is that there is no membership. You're welcome to contribute and be a part of this collective as you feel nurtured. And know that there are times that you will be very intensely involved, and then life will take over. And you'll not be able to be so regular with maybe meeting or talking or answering your phone. And that's all right. The waxing and waning of our effort into the collective is almost lunar, and that's fine. What we do offer as continuous education is an opportunity to come back every month in an open webinar, which we can review films together, which we have discussions about, which we invite people to talk about. And so that is our way of saying continuous education units. You don't have to read a book and write a review. That's not education. But the ability to come back, revisit ideas, discuss them, develop new points of views, listen to others, and grow from that. That would be, and those are our monthly webinars, which we don't just open to our own collective, members of our own, or students from our own collective, but it's open to everybody. And reciprocatingly, we invite people from all walks of life to come and join us. In the last years, we've reviewed a few films. We've done workshops with psychologists to talk about postpartum depression. We worked with, so we keep calling upon different people to come and talk about different topics, because they touch our lives as women, and they touch the lives of our clients in their reproductive journey. And so that is also an ongoing process. And therefore, and finally, there is no membership. Our will and commitment to come together and support others is our membership. So that is yet another way I'd like to define it. So adding to what those 24 webinars do, we have 2 more seminars that we've included, which is almost at the same price of any training around the world. And we call them Seminar 2 and 3, and they have a very specific purpose. Seminar 2 is, once you've done the foundation course and you've gone and attended a few births, how do I know more or dig deeper? So all the different programs that could have later become continuous education is still a part of this whole education program. And we talk about art, we talk about the subconscious mind, we talk about ultrasounds, VBACs, breaches, how the pelvic mechanic works, and that would be our Seminar 2. And finally, I feel that no birth professional is truly ready to go out and meet women's needs if they're not trauma-informed. What do I mean by that? Trauma-informed is recognizing that people's behaviors are not happening because they're just, their character is not good enough, or they are not strong enough. It's recognizing that each and every one of us have a nervous system that seeks safety in the world. And depending on our past experiences and our childhood, those systems of safety may differ from woman to woman. So a woman who stands up to her care provider is just as strong as a woman who cannot stand up, but her defense strategy is to agree with the care provider. She finds strength to be in a difficult situation and protect and find means to protect herself and her baby. It's the same amount of strength. So we're going to redefine the idea of strength from a duality to each person doing the best they can in that particular moment. And that would be our seminar 3, which I feel beyond doubt is one of the most interesting seminars that I have created. And so having done this, this would be a full range of your training, which is a year. During this year, you can go back and start supporting women whenever you feel ready, at any given time from the time you join us to whatever time thereafter. At any birth, in any situation, if you feel you need a second opinion or you want somebody to bounce the idea off, or you need support in terms of information or emotional, the collective is right behind you. And I think that's one of our strengths. And this is a testament to that, is that this is an orientation for new people coming into the program. And yet we have our older student Neha, and then we have Yogita and Rupa. They've just come back to join, to just show interest, to just answer your questions, just be a part of the collective. So the Doula Collective is not one person, though it did start with me, but it can never be, it could not have been sustained by just me. And each or everyone who joins us becomes the collective. And so that's the first part of what I wanted to say. The second part is how these lectures are delivered, or how the webinars are done, is that there's a live interaction, say on a Thursday at 7 in the evening, from 7 to 8. And then you have a whole week to look at all the resources in your own time. Each of the live interactions are recorded and then uploaded to a learning platform to which you will have access, which also includes your study resources. Sometimes at the end of a webinar, there is an assignment, and sometimes there isn't. All the assignments are for your self-evaluation and growth. It's a way of learning something new. It's not graded, but they are important and necessary to be completed to complete the course. You don't need a certain amount of marks or a certain amount of time to go back to work. If you feel after the first 4 webinars that you want to start supporting women in labor, you can very well do it. It's only required that you represent yourself clearly and transparently that you are a doula in training. You will use that moniker for till the end of the first seminar. And thereafter, you will have finished the foundation course, which is just as good as any other course that you do around the world. And therefore, you can call yourself a doula. And your training will finish when you finish seminar 3, but you don't have to do it in one go if you choose not to. So after seminar 1, if you want to take a break and then go with the next group, that's fine. If you want to do it in one go, that's fine too. It will be entirely at your own pace. We've had people who started a seminar and dropped out and said, I'm going to come back. And one of them will be joining seminar 1 again. Her name is Nikki, and she's in the US. And so she's going to come back. The other thing is that anybody who studied with us can come back and review any of the seminars at any time they want. It's forever. It's not like that was your group and that's what you have. You can come back and review any part, anytime you want that it is online. You're welcome to come back. So many times in a class, you'd see people from a different group who've already finished the course, who are well-established doulas coming back because they just felt like they want to review a particular topic again. And they bring with them a rich experience and their own knowledge, which we are very, very delighted to share with everybody else. So that's my bit to begin with. Now, I'd like, Neha, do you want to say something here?
Yeah, a couple of things, I think. One is that you've already spoken about the program. And I mean, I remember when you started the program, I had already done the doula training. And I thought that I already knew a lot because I'd completed the training and I had read books and I was already a childbirth educator. And then I said, okay, since I was in Delhi and you were starting this and I wanted to learn more from you, I joined the program. But I mean, I can vouch for the fact that the quality of the content and the perspective with which it's delivered is at another level altogether compared to the conventional material that we receive. And that's because of Divya's personal journey and her experience of supporting so many women. And also, I think, being someone who's not just a doula, but also a whole lot of other things. I mean, she's a somatic experiencing practitioner, craniosacral therapist, pre and perinatal psychology she studies. So she brings in all those perspectives into birth work, which I think is so valuable. So there's a simple topic like anatomy. I mean, a boring topic where you're just studying like, you know, parts of the body. She brings in these nuances to it, which deepen your understanding of it and make you look at it in a completely refreshing way. And that's been my main takeaway, which has stayed throughout all 3 seminars. So each of the topics, the depth and the perspective with which they're presented. So that's one thing that I wanted to share. I can go on talking about that, and which is why I keep coming back. I keep coming back even to seminar 1 and seminar 2 as and when I can, because sometimes you just need a refreshing view of the same thing. And I think that's what we get here. And as Divya said, also from the other doulas, you know, everyone brings in some of the questions that people ask make you think about stuff. So that's one part of it. The other thing that I wanted to say was, you didn't talk much about it, Divya, but I think she's also done a great job of putting together some brilliant study resources. So on the Teachable platform, besides your recording of the webinar, there are a bunch of resources that she has collected for each topic. So they are either videos or reading material, which are each handpicked and super useful, because you can't learn everything by just watching a webinar for 1 hour in a week. And so a few hours in the week, I would say. In fact, Sanjana was asking me that question in terms of how much time do you think she needs to be able to do it? And what I told her was that, of course, like Divya said, it depends on you and the pace at which you can. But just to give you an idea, so if you can attend that webinar, which is an hour in a week, and just take out maybe on the lower side 1 to 1.5 hours, and on the higher side a couple of hours, depending on how much time you have to go through the study material and a little bit of reading, I think that's good enough. So about 2 to 4 hours in a week is what you need in terms of time commitment. That's my, I don't know, the others may have a different view on that. This is my assessment of the amount of time needed. The other one more thing I wanted to mention, which is that I think that while this is a doula training program, all of us who are part of it know that it's been much more for us than that. It's been a personal growth journey. I mean, my parenting is affected by this program. I feel like a more confident parent. It's a life skills program. And so even if you've not decided that I want to be a doula, that's okay. If you just find birth work interesting and you are figuring out what you want to do in this space and how you want to support, and each of us will have our own journeys. Not everyone in this program is a doula. Some are still having their second babies. Some are, you know, yoga teachers who are doing it to enhance their skill. We have a birth photographer who's done this course because she wants to be able to enhance her understanding of birth when she's in the birth room. So there are different ways of approaching birth work, and each one will have their own journey, and that's fine. So you don't have to have decided that this is my career path and I want to be a doula kind of a thing. No, you can figure out what is your, and even I think even as doulas, there are different types of doulas. There are some who are great at being there in the labor room and supporting, and that's their sort of key skill. There are some who are great at supporting postpartum. There are some who do both. There are some who are great educators, and the doula training also helps you with that. So it's quite fluid that way, and the content is also like that. It's not only to make you a doula. I think we have a variety of people here itself. Suma wants to do something in birth, is working at a birth center, and she wants to do the training for that. Nitya, I don't know why she's here. I'm curious to hear from her. She's not a birth worker, but she's here too. So there are a variety of reasons why you may want to do this course.
This time we have a doctor, a pediatrician in our trauma-informed care course.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
So we have a variety of people who come to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's some of the things I wanted to share. If anybody else, do you want to say something more, Divya?
No, not me, but I do want to hear
Yogita.
questions from, and also, if you want to direct your question to Yogita or Rupa, who've already done the course, you're welcome to even address it to them because they're still going through that journey. So Rupa and Yogita have just started with me on seminar 2. Though Yogita has been working in the birth field for a very, very long time, and Rupa is a second-time mom. And so very variety of profiles, but you can ask them. And yes, yeah, okay, Rebecca says, I'm a lactation professional. Okay. So you can't only think of lactation without actually thinking about the journey of the baby prenatally and then during birth, and then even postnatally how they're met. So lactation isn't just about putting food in the baby's mouth. And we talk about that in great detail. Yeah. Do you want to say something, Yogita, Rupa?
I do want to say, okay, this is for, I'm telling myself, I've been working as a prenatal fitness expert and even a childbirth educator. And I did all these courses, like, because it came in the journey. Like, I started with prenatal fitness and then I went on to one and the next and the next and the next course. But this one was something I just wanted to do it for myself. The other ones came like, for the babies, you have to do the lactation thing. For the mother, just make them more aware by childbirth education and things like those. And they were also done passionately for the mere reason of making the mothers more aware, supporting them. But this one was something which is different from all of them, and it is just what you do for yourself. You do want to do your doula work or not, that's secondary, but this gives you something that will change your life, first of all. Second, it tells you the true meaning of support. So before coming on to this course, we just had an idea that doula is all about giving a kind of a satisfaction of a natural or a vaginal
back
birth.
massage.
Yeah. Or just making the mother go towards a normal or a vaginal birth, right? But then when I attended the seminar 1, it was not just about vaginal birth or cesarean birth or any X mode of birth. It was all about birth as it is meant to be for that particular mother and supporting it in that true sense.
Yeah.
So that was a new meaning to birth that came across to me. And yes, Divya brings beautiful perspectives to things that are beyond textbooks, beyond many courses that I have done, to be honest. So yeah.
Thank you.
And
so,
it's amazing.
There was a smile on my face, but there was also a smile on Neha's face when you said it. This isn't about what birth it is. It's about a woman. So it's kind of the philosophy on which support rests for us. What are we supporting? We're supporting a human experience. And that may take any shape. And will our presence change that experience to a slightly more tolerable, positive? And I think one thing the pandemic has shown us is that our biggest challenge is being alone. And so no woman should ever be alone. No human should ever feel alone. And that's the quality of relational quality that that doulas bring to their clients. And that's the difficult part to teach. How do you teach relationship if you don't hold that for somebody to experience it? How do you know love if you've never felt love? How do you teach care if you haven't felt care? And so the idea of mentorship in the Doula Collective is all about that. So your questions before we invite Rupa to speak.
just adding to what you said, Divya, the one thing which you can't really talk about in the curriculum plan and everything, which is, I think, the heart of this course, is the friendship and the sisterhood that we all have. And we all know that that's what actually we value the most. Everything else is secondary. Our work is secondary. It is just coming together and seeing each other and, you know, talking about birth and talking about our lives. That has an invaluable, that is something that cannot be quantified and cannot be stated and only felt. And that's the and that's why it's so much like doula work. It's hard to tell someone what a doula does. They only know how it felt after they've had the experience. And like, I don't, my only sort of clients come through referrals, because that's the only way somebody gets what a doula does. Otherwise, how much can you explain? And everyone's experience of support is different. So this group kind of helps us understand the meaning of that.
Any questions that you may have about the work, about the curriculum, about anything?
So, hi, I have a question. Is this course, whatever you are mentioning, is internationally recognized? Because soon I'll be moving to abroad, and I really want to be a doula. I have a friend who is a doula. She was, in fact, your student, Divya ma'am, Aparna Agrawal from Delhi.
Yeah.
So we are teammates on breastfeeding support for Indian mothers, and we both are lactation professional. And she, inspired me to be a doula. And I wanted to know if this.
Where are you
course,
shifting?
I'm moving to Canada.
Yeah. So nowhere in the world is there a course that is recognized internationally.
Okay.
You will know Donna, but they're not accredited by any body to accredit them. Like, for example, if you're a doctor, then the government of that country has a licensing procedure. You have to take a certain exam, no matter where in the world you study. If you come and practice in India, you have to take an exam in India.
Right.
No doula has to take any exam anywhere to offer their services, because it's non-medical. And in that sense, it's not recognized.
Okay.
Right? So you may take out, so you could have a paper that says that you are from the Birth Works International, but there'll be 20 people who don't know about it. But it just says that you've completed the course.
Right.
And the course website and their own work is the credential that this is what you have done.
Right.
So if somebody looks at me and says, okay, if somebody carries a certificate that says that you have finished the foundation course, then if somebody wants to review, I have an open door policy to review the curriculum, because everything is recorded and it's there.
Right.
But other than that, there is no review. And nobody can say that you can't be a doula because you haven't done it from this organization.
Right.
So when you go and you say, oh, I'm a certified doula and I've done my training in Delhi, nobody will question that.
Right. Also, is this course like I need to be in Delhi, or I can do it from wherever?
You can do it from wherever you are.
All right.
You can do it from wherever you are, because it's all online.
Right.
The only difference it would make is, say, and this is one of the dreams that I have, is that say if you were in Delhi, then you would have a sisterhood in Delhi, which you could work with. So the way you learn it is that you generally, if you see the requirements from any doula program, it says you have to observe 3 births or 5 births. What do you mean observe? For a minute, imagine that you're the woman who's taken her t-shirt off and is moaning and moving. Would you like to be observed by a stranger?
No.
So then what do you mean by observing births?
Like maybe I should be knowing that person beforehand.
Correct. So again, I go back, doula work. And if you don't understand that simple idea that you cannot observe women when they are in labor because it's an invasion of their privacy, that makes that interaction to become centered on you and your need and requirement for observation rather than the woman herself, then it isn't doula work, is it? So doula work is actually relational. And therefore, we don't ask you to to do it. So we say, you tell a mom, and this is how lots of people who I mentored started even before we had the Doula Collective, is I say, I do a childbirth class. You're welcome to come to my class. And I'm going to say, here is Rebecca, and she's a doula in training. Not everybody can afford to pay a lot for a doula. So somebody might say, oh, you know what? I'd like to have you there. And then you learn how to develop that relationship by actually doing it.
Right.
And then you'll learn again when you meet another woman whose requirements will be completely different. And then you will learn it all over again with the third woman. Because no matter how experienced you are, this is the first time you're meeting this woman. So if you are in a place where there are other doulas, you can work with them. And especially if there are the Doula Collective doulas, then we support each other.
Mm.
So there was time that when I was working and I was mentoring her, and I would say, oh, you know, I'm going for a prenatal meeting. Why don't you come along?
Mm.
And it's kind of an inclusive relationship with the client, that there is me and then there's Neha. And then if I'm not available, Neha can be present. So that's how we learn. That's how the Dais learned, by apprenticing, by going with women.
Mm.
So if you were in a place which was closer to me, you probably work with me, but I'm no longer actively doing. So if you were in Bangalore, there's Neha there. If you're in Delhi, then there's Yogita, Rupa, Sonia is there. If you were in Pune, we have Shivani there. So, you know, if you're in a place where there's nobody there, then we are available on phone call for you.
Right.
I've
So
done
I
online
am
prenatal
here in
meetings.
Nagpur.
Yeah, so I've done prenatal meetings online with clients, but not so much to say, okay, I'll tell you how it is done, but to sit back and say, okay, carry on. I know you can do it. I got your back. Because it's conversational, because it's relational, it's conversational. Say, now, did you notice what we did? I did my whole thing. And then I very nicely turned to Neha and said, do you want to add something to it? What is the feel you got? Like she is equally contributing to this. So I may have missed a point or two, which she picked up. This is exactly how we do a prenatal as well. So this relational interaction, we can do online. I've done prenatal interactions with Aparna, since she's the one who's sent you here. I've done a prenatal interaction with her, and then she has gone on to do the doula work, and I haven't. So if you're in a place, you'll have more support. If you aren't, then your support is virtual, like with us on phone or otherwise. But that's the only difference. Someday you'll have to start somewhere.
Right.
So if you're in Nagpur and you're willing to do the work, then that's where you begin. You don't have to be here.
Right. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? So like Neha said, talking to clients, telling them their options, understanding different things that might happen in birth are a part of the training. So even if you know nothing about birth, that's all right. Because that's the whole point of those 24 weeks that we're going to spend together. Just acknowledging a lot of people here. And if you have a question or you need to add something, you can either put it in chat or you can speak directly.
Also, what would be the fees for this?
So each seminar you can pay separately. The total amount is 62,000. The first seminar is 32. And that's what you pay to begin with, because you may or may not do your second seminar right away. And then you pay as you go.
Okay, thank you.
Divya, does it also cover postpartum doulas knowledge?
It covers postpartum interaction,
Mm.
which includes debriefing, which includes education of the mom about what changes are happening, which includes help with breastfeeding, and which also includes understanding and keeping an eye on her mental well-being. Because you're a birth doula, you're following up, and you could go up to 6 weeks if you want, but at least 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes we follow up to 6 months. We don't hear from our clients, and then they say, oh, my baby's almost 6 months and I'm going to wean them off, so I'm going to start with solids, and then we participate in that. So you will have information, you have education to support those steps. But one of the clear skills you'll also learn, Suma, is to say that this is beyond the scope of my work and I need to refer. So even though I know about postpartum bleeding, my education tells me that this is the amount of information I can offer. And when it is outside the realm of my work, then I refer. Say for breastfeeding, you can go postpartum support with breastfeeding, but if you realize that it's not working, then it's a great idea to refer to a lactation consultant. So yes, it includes in that sense postpartum. And most postpartum support is not about technicality, but to make sure that the mom's needs are met. And for majority of people, especially abroad, that need is physical: cooking, laundry, babysitting other babies, grocery shopping. It's all a part of postpartum doula. In UK, where there is a great postpartum saying, the nurse midwife goes home to check on what is the bleeding like, what is how's the lactation happening, how's the mother's mood, what kind of support she has. So depending on whether you're a medical care provider or a doula, your support is different in the postpartum period. But for me, because we believe in continuity of care and we meet them prenatally, see them through birth, and then see them through postpartum, we'd say at least 2 to 3 weeks, at least till the time you can sign off on the baby's feeding well and the mother's mood has stabilized. Because those are one of the red flags. And we're delighted to say that as the Doula Collective, we hold a postpartum support group, which is a listening circle now, which is what we decided and trained for and started in the last year. We meet every Tuesday. And so, even finding resources for support is a part of what you can offer postpartum. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions anybody has? So our course begins on the 27th. If you're interested, please write to me or to Neha. You can DM us on the Instagram if that's the route that you found this place. And if you need more details, you can go to our website and you can download the brochure. It's right there for you to download. And if you are ready to begin, just send me a message. And then so I can start to enroll you. So the first seminar spans over 24 webinars, which is about 6 months. Thank you, Yogita. Yeah. So the first seminar has 24 webinars. The second has 14. And the last one has 10. So it's a total of 48. And we were laughing and saying that it's the 42 weeks of pregnancy and 6 weeks postpartum program.
Hi, I have a question. Maybe you said it, but my network is quite bumpy, so I don't know. I'm a foreigner. I'm not Indian, as you can see. I'm settling in India. And I wanted to be a doula. That's why I encountered your seminar, thinking that I want to direct my knowledge into Indian women.
Yeah.
And I don't know actually how it works, how people get into contact with doulas usually, or it's common, is it, I don't know, mainstream to do it?
Camille? Where are you located?
I am now in Hampi, near Bangalore.
Okay. So the way it starts is that you might have somebody in your own circle who is ready to give birth. And that's where the support starts. I'd say you make bridges with hospitals, with doctors, but not all of them will either welcome doulas, nor will they practice in a way which is holistic to being at birth. So, but no matter what it is, you will find a care provider or two who will maybe not welcome you, but let's say, for the lack of a better word, tolerate you first till they see what you bring. Or you could be going with a friend And generally, I'd say that there's a business model, but there isn't. Simply because if I sell the idea of support to you, I can never meet your expectations, Camille, because I don't know what they are. But if I go as a referral of word of mouth, and why that is important is my credentials are already spoken for somebody else other than me. So I'm not convincing anybody to have me on board. Secondly, as a doula, with the kind of commitment you make, both emotionally, physically, time, effort, you can't do many births. You can't have a client a day or a client a week. Because when women are looking for natural birth, there is no saying when they would go into labor in a 5-week period. And so you can't be double booking yourself and being stretched in all directions.
Yeah.
So you might take on 2, and if you have a good backup team, maybe 3 or 4, like between the two people or between 3 people, you might, add a few more births. But 2 is a good number. It takes a lot of effort doing the prenatals, doing the birth, then doing the postnatal, and maintaining a relationship. It takes a lot of effort. And I'd like to think that we also have families. We may or may not be married. We may have other jobs. And therefore, there is not a rush to establish a career in being a doula. I worked for 20 years, and I don't think it's a career, because you can do only that much work for your own sanity and burnout. And so you'll find that when you do work from your heart, you'll always have clients. And in a few months or a year, you'll be saying no to people. And then you'll look for another doula in your area who you could refer to. So the business doesn't grow because you can put up a banner and open up a shop, because that doesn't work. But it's by word of mouth. And you can start with offering, you depending on who you want to serve, you can offer like a workshop on birth to a few pregnant women. And then somebody may say, we'd like to have you come along. Or you could educate maybe on a lower social economic strata, depending on who you want to serve and how you want to. And you'll find that somebody in this whole deal will say, can you please be there with me? Not because you're the greatest doula on earth, because you have a relationship with them, and you make them feel safe and respected. And that will be the start. And then, of course, it'll grow by word of mouth. I mean, that's one of the models I have. The other model is that you might find a care provider who finds value in your presence. And that means women are less scared, there's less intervention, things go more smoothly, their clients are happier with their service. And she might ask you to come on board and say, I'm going to refer my clients to you. That happens too.
Okay.
So either of the 2 can work, and it could be a combination of both. Do you want to add something to that, Neha?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that there is no clear path. There's no answer to your question. In India, people barely know what doula is. There are just a handful of people who know, and it's basically through word of mouth and stuff. So there is no one way of doing this. Everyone has to just discover their own process of how they want to work and what kind of a doula they want to be, and stuff like how much do I charge, and all of those we are discovering on our own. One by
There's
one.
no regulation.
There's no standardization.
And I don't regulate anybody's work.
Thank you.
But to let you know that I work with expats, and I've had expat doulas working with Indians. And in birth work, when we shed all the layers of civilization and we stay with our own power, it's woman to woman support, and it's really not to do with who we are or which country we belong to. But the path to reaching that relationship is cultural. So a little bit of sensitivity to whoever you are serving. So I've had French, German expats. I worked with British, with American, and their culture is different than ours. And respecting that, even though you may not agree with it, goes a long way in their feeling safe with you.
Yeah.
And so,
And then it comes another question. In your course, will you talk a bit about the culture and about
yes.
like how we can support different kind of people?
Yes, we will. We will,
Oh,
but we
okay.
won't talk of it as culture specific. We will talk
Mhm.
about it as communication, the skill of communicating with people, meeting them where they are, and learning on the job what their culture, what it means for them to hold on to that. So it's interesting, this culture is ingrained in us before we are cognitive. And that becomes the core of our beliefs of who we are. And so how do we meet those? We will talk about it in terms of both communication skills and prenatal. So despite of sounding really loose and fluid, we do have a certain structure in how we meet our clients prenatally. What are the tasks of our prenatal visits, and how we can deconstruct them from this organizational rigidity to a more fluent or fluidic conversation. So we're doing both. We're doing a really specific task of making a birth plan, but we're doing it in a way that is more conversational, without having this idea that, oh, you're the expert and I'm telling you what to do. So deconstructing that. So we have two different sections on that. One is about communication and understanding how we communicate, how we listen and how we speak, and how that's effective. And other is to hear and reflect on what our clients are saying. So yes, it'll be a part of the course.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's all I have, and we're almost at the hour now, so I just want to respect everybody's time. And if there are any other questions at this point, either directed to me or to Neha or even to Rupa or Sonia. Sonia is also a part of our program. And if not, then I just want to thank you for being here, and we are good to go. Suma's already with us, so we're good to go next week at 7:30 in the evening.
Divya, can I just add one small thing?
Yeah.
More than seeing it as a profession, I think me being in the birth field for like almost 6 months now, I see that, the support that we need to give to a woman when at any point of time, especially during birth, is something that is more important than a profession as such. And I think if you're doing a good job in terms of support, it will all fall in place.
Many years ago, somebody asked me, what does a doula do? And I said, I'm professionally trained to be unprofessional. So yes, welcome aboard, Suma.
All our clients basically become our friends.
Yeah.
And for me, family.
That's how it is, friends and family here.
So I have these tiny clients who I've seen come into the world who call me grandma or aunt. And I've had relations. My longest standing relationship with a client and their children is 2008, so almost 14 years. No more, 2004. So yes, for me, it's really delightful because I'm an only child. So it's nice to have families in many different ways, including the Doula Collective. So yeah, it's a deeply rewarding work. It may not be it may not be a career success story, but it's a deeply rewarding work that you will do. So we also have Aparna. Hi, Aparna.
Finally.
Okay, see, we're almost happy to be here, aren't we?
Yeah. Wow, I see. Ah, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we were having similar conversations with Aparna a year ago. A year ago, when she joined the Doula Collective, we had similar conversations as we had with you.
Actually, Divya.
Aparna, Karnika also, no? You guys are also.
Yeah.
You know each other, right?
Yes. 1 year down the line, I would like Rebecca and Karnika to include my name in the list of people who have inspired them. Just like a year back, I included Neha's name in my speech. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought, I know this is about to get over, but I still joined in to just say that it was, I'm sorry, Divya, if I'm taking over
No,
from
please
where.
do. We were
Yeah, but
almost done.
okay. So honestly, like those of you who go ahead from here, you will see how much this course is not just about doula skills or something. A lot of it is also got to do the way it alters your thinking and turns you into a much more empathetic and a kind person. Like that's what I can say for myself. And that is the magic that Divya plays over you. It's just yeah, um, like a week Divya was down with COVID, and the day she could speak, I called her up and I said that um, I felt so orphaned for the past 1 week. And I really mean it. Like I got so emotional. I was telling my husband that night that, you know, I feel so anxious that I haven't been able to speak to Divya the whole week, because that's the kind of this thing that, you know, you will start looking forward to these classes, and you will look forward to the discussions that these classes hold. It's really, and like I had so many apprehensions that I don't come from a medical background. How am I going to do this? But trust me, it is just life changing. So I'm not here for a sales pitch or something, but because I did not know Rebecca would be here, but I knew Karnika would be here. But yeah, Rebecca had been following up with me for this for a very long time, and I'm so sorry, Rebecca, I did not myself pass on this information to you, but I'm glad that you're here somehow. Too much has been happening, but yeah, and thank you, Divya,
Thank you.
for every year doing this and shaping
Yeah.
shaping lives. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you so
sorry
much
I
for
logged
that
in a
vote
bit
of
late.
confidence. It feels so warm and nice to hear it. And it seems to be the theme which I'm humbled and also very grateful that that is the theme of this, is that it changes us, it touches us, rather than you know, it's just another course. And Yogita said it, you didn't hear that, and then you said it, and then Neha said it as well. So.
And I'm also going to add to this, Divya. I was just waiting, when should I say
Jump in.
yeah.
The last minute you have, Sonia.
Yeah, so this was just the same Aparna with me. She was unwell, and the day I got her voice, I was like overwhelmed with so much of emotions all together.
Yeah.
Then and yes, it was a very good. It is not just a profession that you choose. It is, you evolve as a person with empathy. You and Rebecca, just like you said, that how do you work? How do you get work? So, you know, Divya always tells us that women have this womanly art of giving. It's a very womanly affair to give birth. And women are not competitors. They love to nurture, love to grow, love to support each other. And I think this gives me goosebumps, because this is I've felt in this group with Divya, with Neha, ever since I've met them, that you get so much love, you get so much support, that you want, and you
Absolutely.
give it further, because this is what you need to give to other women for birth. And this is just not just as a profession, it's a very heart touching work that you do, um, and you work together with other women like Divya, Neha, and all of us, like Aparna, meeting Aparna. So when this year when Aparna joined, I was very I just quickly explained my experience. I was very you know, thinking that, you know, how will I gel up with Aparna? This is new person now. But then slowly, Divya just told me one thing. people will keep coming and you have to love them and accept them, because this is how women live with each other. And this is what we do. And this is what Doula Collective is all about. And it's a great experience. You just feel it.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. Actually, a lot of us here, like since we are here, I'm sure we are there on other platforms talking about how and we make these responses on certain platforms. Rebecca and I, for example, share some common platforms wherein very openly people write that women have to support women, and sister for sister and all of that. But in true sense, I all my life, I'm 32, I had not experienced this ever.
Yeah.
I did not know what it is for a woman to stand up for a woman.
Yeah,
I'm
no
sorry to say, but to all those women I had met so far, I had never experienced this, and probably even I did not have it in me to give it back. Being here, honestly, it made me realize that I was so shallow within. It's only when you be here, you hear it from Neha, you hear it from Divya, the way they give out their knowledge, the way they share the skill set, it is amazing. And they share work. Like I don't think I have come across any such platform or a community wherein women really stand up for a woman. I always remember Neha always quoting that, Aparna, Indian society is very, very patriarchal, but women were not meant to be competitive. I don't know, the patriarchal system has just taken over. And really now looking back over the last 1 year, I see how much that has transformed me. And I feel that now I'm in a capacity where I think I'm able to pass it on, give it forward.
Lovely.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful note to which we end. We want to respect everybody's time. Thank you so much for being here.
Okay.
It wasn't meant to be a loving session, but it is. It always will be, because that's how we have been together. And I hope to see some of you come aboard and grow with us. And I also look forward to growing with you and to another year of Doula Collective.
Yay.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you so
here.
much.
Okay.
Just write into
bye.
us if you have any other questions. If you want, you can make a call to us. And the brochure and all the details are there on our website. And if you feel committed, do write into me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Sanjana,